sharing some information with you guys. We're going to get right into it, okay? From the Federal Communication Commission, the FCC. They have set radio frequency radiation exposure limits. These are called RFR. These limits are based upon the behavioral change in rats that were exposed to microwave radiation. These regulations were designed to protect us from short-term heating risks due to RFR, radio frequency radiation exposure. These limits were largely based on research from the 1980s. I came across a couple of websites. I was reading a couple articles maybe a month ago because I was on the local news station and it was saying how, because censorship is real, has nothing to do with, this might be backwards, and if it is, sorry, you're catching the drift, okay? So it just plain out said that is not because of, okay? Now, whether you are for or no, the thing is, if you look into the information, okay, it's not a battle of this versus no this, okay? I hope you do your own research, and things just weren't adding up, okay? Because the number of deaths are right now at 149,000 in America. Every life is precious. This is not the debate. It's not the debate that people are dying. Yes, people are dying, but people need to understand the effects of this technology, right? Is killing people and is going to continue to kill people. And also, the whole agenda of this is to keep you in a fear-based, to keep you from feeling out of control, to keep you in a division state with others, okay? You see people with no, and you hate them, right? Or you see people with them on and you think that they're whatever. This is not my argument. I'm just saying, as a clear cognitive person, okay, this is all just, the puzzle pieces are starting to fit, and I just want to share with you what I have learned in research, okay? So this is from the scientificamerican.com, and I saved these like a month ago. And finally, I'm at the point where I can share, okay? More than 500 peer-reviewed studies have found harmful biological or health effects from exposure to radio frequency radiation at intensities that are even lower to cause significant heating. Now, the FCC, right, imposes limits that are designed to protect us from short-term heating risks of radiation, okay? Now, present day, these limits were from a 1980s, mostly 1980s information, okay? We know how much technology has advanced since the 1980s, okay? Now, present day, more than 500 peer-reviewed studies have found harmful biological or health effects from exposure to RFR, radio frequency radiation, at intensities that are too low to even cause heating, okay? More than 240 scientists who have published peer-reviewed research on the biological and health effects of non-ionizing electromagnetic fields, or EMFs, have signed the International EMF Scientist Appeal, which calls for stronger exposure limits than what have been implemented from the 1980s that have not changed. Okay, the appeal makes the following assertions. Listen up, people. Numerous recent scientific publications have shown that EMF affects living organisms at levels well below most international and national guidelines. Okay? Let me complete all this and we'll put it all together in a nice, beautiful soup for you. Okay? So, the effects include increased cancer risk, cellular stress, increase in harmful radicals, which are unstable atoms that damage cells, that cause illness, okay? With the radiation happening, it's proven that there's an increase in radicals, free radicals, increase in cancer, increase in cellular stress, increase in genetic damages, changes in reproductive system, learning and memory deficits, neurological disorders, and negative impacts on general well-being in humans. Damage goes well beyond the human race as there is growing evidence of harmful effects to both plant and animal life. This is directly from the International EMF Scientist Appeal. Okay? These scientists have published over 2,000 papers and letters on EMF in professional journals. This is all the research that I have here is from the Scientific American site. Okay? In 2011, the World Health Organization International Agency for Research on Cancer classified radio frequency radiation as possibly carcinogenic to humans. That means cancer causing, okay? This is in 2011. Listen. A $30 million study conducted by the U.S. National Toxicology Program found clear evidence that 2 years of exposure to cell phone radio frequency RFR, radio frequency radiation. 2 years exposed to that from cell phones increases cancer in male rats and increases damaged DNA to both sexes. Okay. Without conducting a formal risk assessment or a systematic review of the research on radio frequency radiation health effects, the FDA recently, the Food Drug Administration, recently reaffirmed the FCC's 1996 exposure limits. Reaffirmed the 1996 exposure limits of RFR, radio frequency radiation, which are from studies in the 80s. In a letter stating that the agency had concluded that no changes to the current standard are warranted at this time, just disregarding the studies of how it affects human beings and all life. Okay, so will employ millimeter waves for the first time in addition to the 4-1. In addition to the previous technology, this will be in addition to that, okay? And it will require cell antennas every 100 to 200 meters, exposing many people to millimeter wave radiation, okay? Now, a couple studies have shown short-term exposure can have adverse physiological effects in the peripheral nervous system, which is the nervous system outside the brain and spinal cord, the immune system, and the cardiovascular system. Let me repeat. This will employ millimeter waves that require antennas to be 100 to 200 meters apart, exposing many people to millimeter waves, which the research on millimeter waves, short-term exposure, can have adverse physiological effects in the peripheral nervous system, brain, spinal cord, the immune system, flu things, and the cardiovascular system. sounds like. Okay. The research suggests that long-term exposure may also pose health risks to the skin cancers. Okay. Now, hopefully you have seen the video of the U.S. Senator talking to one of the companies that's deploying everywhere. And after the conversation, the conclusion is we are basically flying blind. Okay? Because specific studies hasn't been studies on, okay? But there has been studies on 2G, 3G, okay? Hope that doesn't ruin my whole video, okay? And the studies conclude that it's harmful. It's in here somewhere. I'm going to keep going. Just bear with me. There's a lot. Okay. Now, when it comes to research on the microwave radiation, the microwave radiation that we already are experiencing, paired with the millimeter waves, have not been researched. This should be alarming since we have considerable evidence of the harmful effects of prior technologies of 2G and 3G. Cancer causing, okay? Cellular stress, increase in harmful free radicals, okay? Making people sick. You pair that with the chemtrails, with the bad water that is full of fluoride and also full of other heavy metals. There you are. You pair that with the toxic food, you got a recipe for walking. If you are even not sick, if you're not sick and you're not adamantly aware and implementing precautions in your life, we got a disaster, people. Let me continue. Okay. A reminder, this will not replace it's the 4 one. It won't replace it. It will accompany it, okay? A little study I found on the millimeter waves proves an impact on humans. 80% of the subjects showed responses to exposures. This is also helpful information here. This is intended to be the intersection of communications from virtual reality to autonomous vehicles to the internet to smart cities. In addition, is considered the base technology for the Internet of Things, or IoT, where machines communicate with machines. Isn't that great? Have you ever seen the Terminator with the machines taking over? Have you ever seen the Matrix? Okay, just pay attention. Just be with me for a second, okay? Great. Okay. So, right? Not a lot of research has been done on this, okay? But research has been on the lesser counterparts, which are proven to be harmful, okay? And even though these studies were brought to the FCC, they have decided to keep the guidelines the same from the research of the 80s. Okay. I found a study where bacteria and fungi and fibroblasts, whatever the fuck that is, I meant to Google that, but I forgot before this video, were exposed to up to 30 gigahertz of radiation, which some of those frequencies have, okay? They fall within that range of 30 gigahertz, whatever. There was a 95% response rate. Effects included inflammatory responses, changes in skin temperature. You have everybody taking each other's temperature If your temperature's high, you have, but wait, the technology makes your temperature high. Great. I'm not a professional. I am just a godly being that has done research. And I'm passionate about this shit because people have to put this shit together. Okay. Changes in blood pressure, heart rate, and body temperature. Okay? In one study with human blood cells exposed to the radiation for 5, 15, and 30 minutes, in 15 minutes, the cells were activated to release free radicals, which cause illness, and temperature increase in 15 minutes. Now, that's the research side. Thank you for listening. I hope all that concluded. You got any questions for me? Let me know, okay? It is not that I don't believe there is this. I believe there is, and I believe it is man-made, just like AIDS. Yes, I do, okay? And it is a shame that it has killed people, and it is a shame that it has done what it's doing, right? That's not the thing. Obviously, people are sick, and obviously people are dying, okay? What I'm passionate about is the bigger picture agenda that we are just blindly following by fighting people on this, right? Because you think that this matters, okay? So you're fighting people, but you're not seeing what's happening, okay? You know when you get in an argument with someone and there are two sides to the same argument. The same thing happened, but there are two sides, okay? One person is highlighting things that were said. Another is highlighting also things that were said, right? That, two perspectives of the same argument with the intention of making you believe one or the other. This is what we're seeing, right? So the numbers are there. 140,000 people dying, right? Dead. God rest their souls, and please, God, help everybody understand and not let this go in vain. I know it won't. I really do trust that this is part of the process of waking people up. We cannot depend on our government to make our decisions, and because they don't give a fuck about you. Did anybody see What the Health when the Breast Cancer Society, the American Disease Control, did you watch that? Really go watch What the Health, and it makes you understand the corporation that you live under, okay? You always have to see who's funding the research, okay? I'm going to jump here. The top 1% of the income, of the usual income distribution, holds over $25 trillion in wealth, which exceeds the wealth of 80% of the population, okay? They don't need us alive. They need less people alive because then there's more control. If you don't see that there's a big thing happening right now, I encourage you to look a little deeper. And this is the thing. When people's belief systems get challenged, there's a thing called clear dissonance. Something like that. Cognitive dissonance, right? When your belief gets challenged, you fucking get mad. Instead of getting mad, if we understood that there's so much programming in us that is not helpful, that is actually keeping us weak, ill, not happy, okay? The truth is that we are godly beings. And there are things that you can do to help yourself in these times, okay? Because look at how things are crazy, how it doesn't add up. This shit doesn't add up. You saw Dr. Fauci with the thing on, the thing off, right? You see these doctors, thank God some doctors are speaking up about the bigger picture of this. There's a problem. There is a problem, okay? Our kids aren't going to have it. And I don't know how long it's going to take. We're not going to go there. But the point here is that there are things that you can do to help yourself, okay? 1, meditation. You are not this mind. You are not even this body, okay? The mind, there's 2 brains, this mind and the gut. What you eat affects you. So if you've eaten sugar your whole life, you got certain bacteria and organisms in there that are like, I'm going to make you sad so that you eat cake because I am hungry. Literally, this is how this shit works. So if you don't take diligence, if you don't if you just care enough about yourself to follow the nudge, just follow the little thing where it says, maybe you should take a second look at this. Do not live in fear. Do not live in fear. There is so much we can do to protect ourselves, which nobody's talking about, right? We need to do cleanses. There's so much toxicity out there. And then these vaccines that, if you see on my story, I posted how there is known harmful ingredients in vaccines that are killing children and also making them crippled, making them, inhabilitated. It's so sad. Your intuition is telling you something. I know it is. I know you guys are feeling something, like something's not adding up, right? Every day there's a different number, they lied about this number, but they're saying this, right? Look who funds CNN. The pharmaceutical companies fund CNN, okay? Pharmaceutical companies run this fucking country. So of course they want you to think that a vaccine is the solution. Medical medium. I'll tag him under this video. He's a great doctor who has all these different recipes on how to cleanse. He heals all different kinds of things. Who healed AIDS? Didn't Dr. Sebi heal AIDS? The human body is a magical place, and it houses your divine soul that goes on forever, okay? And there are things you can do to take your power back, okay? You don't have to be Gandhi overnight, or you don't have to be Dr. Sebi overnight, but it's putting this at the forefront of this is of most importance. It's of most importance. Okay? Plants in your house, they absorb the radiation. They help you, they protect you, okay? Black tourmaline is a great stone that helps against EMFs. It's very grounding. It's a beautiful stone, okay? That does a lot of work. Teas, right? Your herbal teas, your burdock root teas, Instagram is a wonderful tool that has all these people that have done this research, right? And have, they've mastered a lot of this stuff. So just use your time wisely to regain your power. I just beg you, because, we can't just keep taking what people say. And it's not that I'm for this, I'm against this, because for real, like, I can't breathe. And the proof of the bigger issue is, take care of yourself, because these people do not care. And this is really affecting respiratory, okay? It affects your immune system. It affects it all. So that's what I got today. I'm happy that I got to share it, because it's been on my mind for a long time, and I hope it was helpful. And yeah, take care of yourself. Don't forget that angels and ancestors are all around you.